First and foremost, I want to start off by saying Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Call Halal Yahweh, Ba Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba Shem Rakah Kwadash. Double honor to the apostles of GMS, Great Millstone, who ruled well and who taught me this truth. And shalom to you sincere Akim out there listening and learning and pushing this truth. And shalom to the few sincere Akwath that are out there listening and learning as well. With that being said, I'm going to jump straight into this video. I don't want to ratazah. It'll be edifying. As usual, I'm going to go into Rakah Kwadash. And this video, this lesson is going to be pretty much... I was watching... I've been watching a bunch of like World War I, World War II documentaries. They got a couple on Netflix that are pretty good. It's like World War II in color, you know, and it's going through the different wars, so on and so forth, you know, and a particular thought was running through my mind because I'm watching these World War II World War I, World War II documentaries, and you barely see any so-called Negroes, Jake in there, you know, in the documentaries. And I'm like, I know personally, I knew Jake was in the wars. Jake was in World War I, Jake was in World War II. And we know through the scriptures that Jake is scattered amongst the four corners of the earth. You know, so I was doing my due diligence. You know, I bucked up on the Nazis, a lot of stuff, which we know that's why we call the Temanites are referred to as the Germans. A lot of stuff came out of Nazi Germany. A lot of technology, a lot of sciences, you know, it's so much. When I was watching about World War I, World War II, a lot of scriptures came to mind. I wanted to do a lesson on it, but I wasn't sure. It was so vast, man. It was so vast, the amount of things that I could speak about. But kind of ranting, but you know, I don't want to write this out. It'll make sense. But the main thing I was thinking about how, you know, Jake is scattered, man. Like we always say, if you still think all the Israelites are gonna come back, like Elder Apostle Gabar always like to say, looking like John Shaft, you know, you're completely you bugged out, man. You know, you not knowing the scriptures. You know, as we know, we constantly preach that this is not a color thing. You know. Really, it's the spirit. The spirit bears witness that we are the children of the Most High, you know, and Yasharallah has mingled his seed amongst all the heathens time and time again, you know, and a small example of that is just looking at Germany, for example, which I'm gonna go through this article. Right, when you watch these documentaries, you would never. It would lead you to believe that, you know, there was no Jakes around, man. You know, but Jake was all throughout World War I. Jake was all throughout World War II. Jake was all in France, which we already know. Jake is we scattered amongst the four corners of the earth, man. You know, whereas the sands of the sea. I'm gonna come back to this article, but you know, whereas the sands of the sea, you know, the stars that can't be numbered. Real quick, Genesis 13 and 16. This is what it was said to Abraham. You know, they like to call Abraham the father of many nations because many nations came out of Abraham, but in particular, the promise went to a particular seed. The promise went to Abraham, Isaac, and then unto Jacob. Okay, you know, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai was he was separating, you know, the people, you know. And the promise went to a particular seed, a particular line. Abraham, Isaac, and then to Jacob. The promise did not go to Esau. The promise did not go to Ishmael. You know, you read the Apocrypha, it says he did put by Esau. You know, the promise went to Jacob, not to Esau. And so it went to Abraham, Isaac, and then Jacob. And Jacob, we know, Jacob's name was changed to Israel after he wrestled the angel, you know, to get the birthright. You know, he is a prince of the power, you know. And We are the descendants of Jacob, the 12 sons, the 12 patriarchs, okay? And we're scattered amongst the four corners of the earth. And time again, this is nothing new. Jake always mingles his seed. The man carries the seed. You are who your father is, okay? So I say all that to say, we preach it over and over. There is such a thing as the Israelite foreigners. We've been scattered time and time again. We've mingled our seed time and time again. There's no new thing under the sun. To this day, Jake is still mingling his seed. Okay? So you're going to have Israelites, the Israelite foreigners. You're going to have Israelites that are going to come back looking like all these different nations. You're going to have Israelites looking like Edomites. You're going to have Israelites looking like Ammonites, Moabites, Japhites, Elamites, so on and so forth. But their seed is going to go back to one of the 12 patriarchs. You are who your father is. Okay? That it tells you that in Numbers. They declared their pedigree by their fathers. All right? You see? You are who your father is. Okay? And Jake, we are, as the scripture said, we are as the sands of the sea. And if you can't get that through your thick skull, the Lord ain't dealing with you, man. Okay? So real quick, Genesis 13 and start at 13. The main point is in 16. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord Yahweh exceedingly. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes and look from the place where thou art northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and thy seed forever. And that's the land of Palestine. All right, the land of so-called Canaan. Okay, that was given to Yasharallah. All right, the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I will make thy seed. That's the main point. And I will make thy seed. The man carries the seed, right, in his testicles, right. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Okay? So that's the point. You can't number Yasharallah. By far we are the greatest nation. As the sands of the sea, as the stars of heaven. And again, you can't put a number on us because we're going to come back looking like some of the heathen nations, the Israelite foreigners. I'm going to close out with the article, and it's this Zephaniah 2:1. It says, gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. Because that's the one thing that we have in common. Wherever Yasharallah is, you best believe we're at the bottom. The curses are overtaking us. They're upon us for a sign and a wonder. We're proverbs and bywords, Salakia had to blow my nose, but yeah. So wherever we're at, you best believe we're at the bottom. We're proverbs, we're bywords, we're catching hell, And what's gathering us? This word we're being brought back to remembrance. This word is resonating with the elect. It's supping with us. Our spirit bears witness that we are the children of the Most High. That's why you got camps all over the four corners of the earth, man. You got camps in Germany, Holland, England, Australia. You got Nigeria, Suriname. You got brothers all over, man. All throughout South America, North America. You got all throughout Latin, all up in Canada. You got brothers all over, man. Jake is all in Australia. Jake is scattered amongst the four corners of the earth, And this word is what's gathering us, And if you can't see that, something's wrong with you, man. Yahweh Shai is not dealing with you. If you believe all the Israelites are black, hey, man, the Lord ain't dealing with you, man. First and foremost, we're not black. We're different shades of brown. All right, Adam, Adama, he came from the earth, from the ground, and we know the earth is rich soil, is different, is brown. The soil is different shades of brown. And not to mention, again, we've mingled our seed time and time again. To this current time, we're still mingling our seed amongst the heathens. All right? This is Isaiah 11. And I'll start at 10. And in that day, there shall be a root of Jesse, that's Yahushua HaMashiach, right? And in that day, there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign for the people. And it says, to which shall the Gentiles seek, the Israelite foreigners, all right? The Israelites that don't know they're Israelites, man, in these foreign lands, you know, in a Gentile state of mind, you know. Yeah, you had something during the Greek Empire, the Greek reign. You had something called the Hellenists, you know, Jews that have adopted the Greek tongue, you know, and their customs, you know. So this is nothing new. Jake been scattered, you know, but this word is what gathers us, you know. And in that day, it says, wickedness shall not enter into a malicious soul. So if you can receive this, more than likely you're an Israelite, no matter what you look like, you know. So it says, and in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people, to which shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. Because again, wherever we're scattered, you best believe we're at the bottom. We're not getting any rest, okay? These curses are overtaking us, and they're upon us for a sign and a wonder, so that we can consider. And it shall come to pass, we're going to rest in the kingdom when Yahweh Bashim Yahushai returns and takes these heathens down, all 17 of these other heathen nations. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord Adawan shall set his hand again the second time, all right, because there's a second Exodus coming, all right, chiefly from America, all right, but also wherever America we know is known as Babylon the Great, mystery Babylon, spiritually Sodom and Egypt, but also Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is going to gather his elect from wherever we're scattered, you know. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord Adawan shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, because only the elect are going to make it at this particular go-around, you know, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Yasharallah, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Okay? And the whole chapter is good, but that's the point. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is gathering his elect, the outcast. And you had something called the diaspora during 70 AD. You know, when the Romans besieged Jerusalem, and the Israelites scattered, you know, chiefly to the west coast of Africa, but they also scattered all over. They scattered all over Europe. They scattered, man. The diaspora, you know. Hey, a good book that explains that is From Babylon to Timbuktu. You know, I think the dude's name is Arthur Winslow, if I'm not mistaken. But I know the book is called Babylon. I got it in my sword. I got it with I keep it on me. But it's called Babylon to Timbuktu. It speaks about the diaspora of Yasharallah. Okay. Salaki again. So again, like I said, if you believe, like Elder Apostle Gabar always says, all the Israelites are gonna come back looking like John Shaft, you know, Richard Roundtree, you bugged out of your goddamn mind. You not knowing the scriptures. You know, Jake always been, first and foremost, Jake is scattered. Okay, and Jake been mingling his seed amongst the heathen. That's Jake been doing that. You know. So you're gonna have the Israelite foreigners. All right. It says Matthew 24 and 31. It says, and he shall, who was the he? Yahushua HaMashiach. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect, the elect of Yasharallah, from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Why? Because we're scattered to the four corners of the earth. Mark 13:27. And then shall he send his angels and shall gather together his elect. The word is gathering us right now, but when Yahushua HaMashiach returns, he's gonna gather the elect. And then shall he send his angels and shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the uttermost part of the earth to the uttermost part of heaven. All right? To do what? Gather the elect. All right? So going back to what I was saying, I was watching a lot of documentaries on World War I, World War II, and they barely showed Jake, man. And that, which I already knew Jake was all through the wars, But it caused me to do some, do some digging, some fact checking, and I stumbled across this article here from the Holocaust Encyclopedia, and this is, World War II, in regards to Nazi Germany, Hitler and so on and so forth, right? But check this out. It's going to go into how, Jake was all in World War One, which we know World War II came right shortly after World War One, They claim it was off because Germany was, took that L real bad, and they rebuild, and the story. But the point of the matter is Jake been in Europe. Jake been mingling his seed. Jake been in France. Jake been in all throughout Europe, man. Which we already know. You got the Dark Ages. So that's when Jake was ruling all throughout Russia. The Russian icon. Jake ruled on Ireland, Scotland. England. Jake was ruling. So Jake been, Jake is scattered. That's the point. Jake is scattered. So let's read some of this. The Nazi persecution of black people in Germany. When the Nazis came to power in 1933, there were several thousand black people living in Germany, just in Germany alone. Okay, the Nazi regime harassed and persecuted them because the Nazis viewed black people as racially inferior. While there were no centralized systematic program targeting black people for murder, many people were imprisoned, forcibly sterilized, and murdered by Nazis, which Esau been doing that. Been all throughout Puerto Rico. Jake been, sterilizing, trying to sterilize Jake, because ultimately Esau has a perpetual hatred against his brother Jacob, So it says, key facts. The Nazis harassed and discriminated against black people in Germany. The regime's racial laws limited their social and economic opportunities. The Nazi regime forcibly sterilized an unknown number of black and multiracial people, which there is no such thing as multiracial. The man carries the seed, you are who your father is. Including at least 385 multiracial Rhineland children, derogatorily, because we're proverbs and bywords, wherever we are, derogatorily called the Rhineland bastards. It says there were no coordinated arrest wave targeting all black people in Germany. Nonetheless, many black people ended up imprisoned in workhouses, prisons, hospitals, psychiatric facilities, and concentration camps. Let's see. This is what I really want. Salakia. Again, like I said, my allergies kind of messing with me today. So it's an introduction. When Adolf Hitler and the Nazis came to power in 1933, there were several thousand black, which I already read, there were several thousand black people living in Germany. The Nazi regime, I pretty much read this already, but I'll read it over. The Nazi regime discriminated against them because the Nazis viewed black people as racially inferior. During the Nazi era, 1933 through 1945, the Nazis used racial laws and policies to restrict the economic and social opportunities of black people in Germany. They also harassed, imprisoned, sterilized, and murdered an unknown number of black people. Check this out. The origins of Germany's black community before World War I. Before World War I. You already had Jake over there. The origins of Germany's black community before World War I. Before World War I, several 200,000 black people came to Germany from Africa, North and South America, and the Caribbean. You see that? Almost all of these sojourners were men. See? Men. Jake men. You know? A significant number of them came from Germany's African colonies, especially from Cameroon. And you got a lot of Jake down in Cameroon. You got a lot of Jake in Nigeria, all in the West Coast. Jake is scattered, man. Jake is all in Ghana. You got a lot of Israelites, man. You see? And Jake is always so-called sojourning, traveling, Jake, we're scattered. We're scattered. And wherever we go, prime example, like in Germany, Jake marries the women. You see? So this is just in this short period of time. How much more so throughout, how much more so throughout time? You see? You can't just identify Jake based upon color. You see? Not to mention you got something called the wheat and the tares. All right? Salakia. I don't want to Ratazah. This is making sense and it's coming together. And I was just meditating on it because Esau tells half-truths. He kind of paints like a certain type of picture. I'm watching a documentary after documentary about World War I, about World War II, the Battle of Normandy. I'm watching the Battle of the Bulge. I'm watching the Pacific Wars between Japan and all this shit, And I'm like, where the hell is Jake at? But I know Jake was all throughout there, man. So it says, before World War I, several thousand black people came to Germany from Africa, North and South America, and the Caribbean. Almost all of these sojourners were men, Israelite men. A significant number of them came from Germany's African colonies, especially from Cameroon. During the colonial period, the Germans imposed strict migration restrictions for the colonial subjects. The German authorities wanted to limit the number of black permanent residents in Germany and curtail the growth of any significant black population there. Despite these restrictions, black men from the colonies and beyond often came to Germany to learn trades or engage in other work. They sought educational opportunities and as apprentices and students. They also came to work as servants and sailors, and a significant number came to Germany as paid performers in exploitive public exhibitions called human zoos. It says the majority of black visitors intended on staying in Germany for only a short time. It says most black men and women who traveled to Germany returned home before World War I, 1914 through 1918. It says a smaller number chose to remain. Additionally, some black people who had not planned on staying in Germany were trapped there by the war. The outbreak of hostilities in 1914 limited international travel and migration within and beyond Europe. Let's see. Let's get to the part about the women. Salaki. Let me see if I find the part about the women. It says black residents in Germany during the Weimar period, 1918 through 1933. Slide shown during lectures at the State Academy for Race and Health in Dresden. The daughter of a white German woman and a black French soldier. So you had Jake all throughout France. The daughter of a white German woman and a black French soldier stands among white classmates. Munich, 1936. So those world wars also helped Jake to get out there and sow his seed. All these different wars, the Vietnam War, all these different wars, Jake was out there sowing his seed and leaving his children behind. This image was included as a slide for lectures on genetics, ethnology, and race breeding at the State Academy for Race and Health in Dresden, Germany. Let's see. It says, during the Weimar Republic, Germany was home to a small male-dominated black community whose members had mostly migrated to Germany before World War I. By the early 1920s, some of these men met and married local German women and had families. Many black German families lived in close proximity to one another in large cities such as Berlin and Hamburg, as well as Munich, Hanover, and Wiesbaden. You see? That's pretty much the part. That's pretty much the point, man. So Jake, as you can see, Jake always been first and foremost sojourning, traveling, and he's been getting with the women of the other nations. Prime example in Germany, way before the war, and so on and so on. To this day, there's no new thing under the sun. That's why Yahweh Bashim Yahushai said he's going to come and gather his elect from the four winds of heaven, from the uttermost parts of the earth, because Jake is scattered, whereas the sands of the sea, which can't be numbered. You see? So I don't want to rot this out. It's made sense and it came together, like I said, I was just watching a bunch of documentaries. It's a bunch of different points I could have made, but it's in particular, what kept going through my mind was you Jakes that are stuck on this, all of Yasserallah's blackity black. You are not knowing the scriptures, man. Jake is scattered. You're gonna have Jakes even look like Amalekites, man. Small hat, big nose people, 1948ers. Jake looked like all the, Jake is scattered, and you got a lot of people that you think are Israelites, but are really tares, man, heathens, But ultimately, what's gonna gather us is this word. This word is gathering us. It resonates with us. Our spirit bears witness that we are the children of the Most High and children of the promise. Hey, man, so keep pushing, keep fighting. Hey, we're close, man. Shalom. Wa abad babal. Kwam Nesharallah.